You're listening to The Unexplained Radio with Nate and Kaylee. Ghosts, EVPs, Bigfoot, UFOs, and so much more. Call us live at 402-819-8869. Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show. It's gonna be great.
It is gonna be good. Nate and Kaylee here, and we have an amazing guest to speak with tonight.
Yes, David Oman is going to be on the show here in a few seconds, actually, live. He's going to be talking about all of his experiences and sharing some of his stories living in his haunted house, along with some of the shows and stuff he's done.
Yes, he has some interesting stories for us to hear, and this is something that where he lives.
Yes.
So, I mean, you definitely know how that is. So I can't wait to bring him on here and hear what he has to tell us.
Well, let's get him on the the show. Hi, David. You're live.
Hi, all. How you doing out there?
Hey, David. Thanks for coming on the show and talking with us tonight.
Oh, God. It's my pleasure, please.
Yeah, it's good to have you here.
Oh,
So
it's good to be here. It's good to be not where my unseen house guests are. Let's put it that way at this time in my life.
You
And
have
not my afterlife, for that matter.
You have quite a few house guests we've heard. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, I guess, maybe the first time you realized something was going on there?
Honestly, when we first bought the lot, when we first came up here let's see, it's 1998, about December, November. When I came up here in November of 1998, when we first, my dad told me about the lot, and I met him up here, it was just this weird kind of a familiarity to the place. And when I came up here, it was weird because I knew when I first got up here, it was like, oh my God, that's where the Sharon Tate murders took place. And I was all by myself. My dad was just driving himself up here. When he finally got here, I was like dumbstruck going, I said, I've looked for this place a dozen times, but I can never find it. And it's kind of funny that I'm now looking at a piece of real estate right down the street from this famous murder site. And I was like, just kind of weird. And you could just feel, it was just, I don't know. There's definitely a different energy when you come up to this area. And others that are friends of mine that have come here the first time have also said similar types of feelings. Like it just feels an energy, just a little bit more energized. As far as the first time that I actually experienced something that was kind of like palpable was during the construction of the house. My father and I had spent 2.5, 3 years working on it. And after we basically put up the foundation and started building the floors, I would be like walking around on the, the open floor and, going from one room to the other, and it was like, there were moments where it felt like there was somebody behind me, and you know that sensation when you feel like somebody's going to walk, just tap on the shoulder, and they're right behind you, and you turn around right before they do, and you're like, yeah, what can I do for you? And you're like, oh my God, you know I was there. It's like, yeah, I could feel your presence.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That
wow.
happened a bunch of times during the construction. I can't tell you how many times I felt like there was somebody just rearing is the word, right behind me, like hanging there, and you could just feel them like almost like breathing on your neck. And it was like, you turn and goes, what? And there's no one there. It goes, oh, son of a gun. Happened too many times. It wasn't like coincidental. It was definitely something that you could feel palpable.
Wow.
And here's what's funny is I'm looking, let me see if this is what I think this is. No, it's not. They're just lost. I was looking across the canyon in front of my house, and it's an awfully thick, overcast night here, where I literally can go out on the balcony and I can probably see maybe 100 feet across the canyon, and then it's all fog, like you're in a cloud bank. And that's what it's like right now here tonight. And when I look down to the city, I don't see anything but a big blob of fog. some iridescent light peering through the fog bank. So
Wow.
it's pretty eerie up here tonight.
Well, I'll trade you. I'll take the fog if you want the cold snow that we got.
We don't get snow. We're too south towards the equator down here to get any snow. I don't think the last time I saw snow out here was, years ago. And that was like a quarter of an inch. And that was it.
Oh, yeah, you don't want it.
No, that's why it's Southern California, not Northern California, where they're inundated with the snow flurries and such.
I find it really...
So back to what we were saying. So outside, and then my first time here at the house that I knew that there was something fishy going on, so to speak, with the activity. I moved in August 30th of 2002 when we finished the house. And I'd say by September 1st, I had enough things going around within the first 2 days of living here that was just like, okay, I can just, it's like the shadow people, as people describe them. And I say it's almost like a spirit of somebody, or a shadow of somebody moving very quickly out of the corner of your eye. And you see a blur of motion. And you turn, you go, what was that? I could have sworn I saw something there. That happened almost instantaneously from when I moved in. There was stuff like that happening. But I mean, to me, it's like, okay, you can't focus on that. Because I'll put it bluntly, wherever you stand, there's a 90%, I'd say 99% chance that there's a spirit standing there right next to you. Whether they're related to you or a friend of yours or have nothing to do with you, they're there. On a different dimensional plane at a different higher vibrational speed that they're moving at, so that we as human beings don't have the optic nerve capable of comprehending that type of movement. That's why if you use high-speed film, sometimes you'll capture something that you can't see physically, but when you get the film developed, you look at the pictures and you go, what the living hell is that? I didn't see anything like that when that picture snapped. How the hell is that possible?
Exactly.
So,
I 100% agree with you on that.
I totally agree.
And one other thing I want to say, the misnomer, and this I'm going to put out there to your audience, I'm going to say this very clearly and bluntly. Cemeteries are not haunted. And here's what I mean, and I don't mean to burst anybody's bubble. Let's put it this way. A cemetery is basically, how should I put this nice and neatly? It's a depository. It's a depository for the human body. What I mean is just like, here's an analogy that Barry Taft told me 10 years ago, and he's the famous parapsychologist that does all these investigations and such. He's been doing it for 40-some-odd years. He said, the body is analogous to a motor vehicle and an automobile. He goes, the person inside the automobile is analogous to the soul inside the body. And when a body, or when an automobile comes to a sudden halt, it's almost like the occupant inside that automobile is not wearing their safety belt. So when it comes to a sudden halt, the body continues through the windshield, which is the skin of the body, he said, as the analogy goes, and the body separates from, the soul separates from the body. And in the case of the car, the occupant separates from the car. You then take that car and you drop that car on the ground and you bury it 6 feet under.
Exactly.
There's no connection from that point on. The soul, as soon as you die, your soul separates from your body, and that's the disconnect. So when you take the dead body and you put it into the ground, it's not a place that you, when you were alive, were familiar with. Or for that matter, most people don't work their whole lives or hang out at cemeteries. I mean, if you do, and that was the place you chose to hang out, and you were goth, and you like that kind of stuff, it very well might be that you would end up occupying the cemetery where your spirit goes if you're still an earthbound spirit. But for the most part, spirits will hang around places that were familiar to them when that person was alive.
Exactly.
The idea being is you want to go to a place that makes you happy, but that you're familiar with, or in some cases, with your torment. But outside of that, you're not going to find the spirit mostly at a cemetery, with the exception of a wartime cemetery such as Gettysburg, where the men were buried where they died, and they died a very super violent death. And therefore their spirit is most likely still going to be as Barry said, wander the earth just like the body, just like the occupant and the automobile, and they don't know that they're dead. So they just keep going on over and over. And here's another thing I want to say. When somebody says that, you're condemned to death, to roam the earth the way you died, let me tell you something. If I have somebody who dies in an industrial wood chipper and comes out as sliced pieces of human chipped beef, are you meaning to tell me that poor soul is going to come back on a 6-foot silver platter and a pile about 3 foot high, like a pyramidal pile of human chipped beef, and the person's going to be able to communicate to people going, I can't understand you. Chipped beef boy. Is that your name? What's your name? No, I cannot understand you. You've got to enunciate. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. You sound like Cousin It from the Addams Family. Get out of here. That's not the way it is. That's not the way it is at all. And I can tell you from my personal experience, what I've been told and what I've seen verifies what I was told long ago. That when you die, your spirit, if it's earthbound, will come back in the way that it was in its finest disposition when it was alive.
Exactly. I totally
and that
agree.
Makes sense. I mean, why would you be condemned to coming back as this, it's the way you died? It's a tragedy on top of a tragedy. So, and this from my personal experience, I think it's about 12 years ago, in July, I saw an apparition. And as it turned out, I didn't recognize it as being anybody that I thought. I thought it was a relative of mine at this time because my mom was dying of cancer. And I thought he was coming here to tell me that she was, had passed away in the middle of the night. And later on, I found out the person who I saw was, in fact, one of the victims of the Manson murders from down the street. And it was Jay Sebring. And he looked nothing like he did the day he was killed. He wasn't wearing the outfit he was wearing when he died, because I've seen those pictures. He didn't have any gunshot wounds. He didn't have any scars, any damage to his body. He looked fine. The thing that I noticed immediately when I saw the picture and saw pictures of him in other situations was that his hair, when I saw his apparition, was kinky, coarse, parted to the side. And when I'd seen him in all of the photographs, he had straight hair, completely different type of hair. I'd say, what would you say, like the style? Not the style, it's the actual material of the hair. It was flat and straight. And I found out that Jay Sebring, in the late 60s, the big deal was straight hair. Well, Jay had coarse hair, as a lot of men did. So Jay went about creating and manufacturing hair straightener for men, so that men with kinky and curly hair, whatever, could basically use this product and get straight hair, the look that was in vogue. And I didn't know that, and that's why when I saw the picture of Jay, it said Jay Sebring in his normal, with his natural hair. I was like, oh my God, that's the guy who I saw in my bedroom several months earlier.
Wow.
Something I mentioned earlier about photographs and stuff, I'm trying to make people understand that you don't need a lot of money, you don't need to spend a lot of money on solid equipment if you want to go ghost hunting. And what I mean by that is I dissuade any person from going out and dropping a penny on, Terry, go on this and stop bothering. It's one of my 4 cats. I say, don't spend money. Spend money on your cats, but don't spend money on a Frank's box or an Ovilus 1, 2, 3 or whatever number they're at now. And don't waste your dollars on that because, a good old-fashioned, and this is old school, if you can't afford a digital recorder, and I suggest buying a digital recorder on eBay, because I bought all of my stuff, most of my equipment on eBay, and I'm telling you, that's a place where you can get some good prices on things. If you can't get that, get a cassette recorder. It's as good as anything out there. Micro cassette doesn't matter. If you can't afford a digital recorder, get a cassette recorder. You don't have to spend any money on any kind of audio editing, any type of audio editing software either. Because I can tell you from my personal experiences here, I've never used them ever. The only thing we've ever used here, that I ascribe to using and I vouch for it, and I can tell you highly, I vouch for it because I've had Chris Moon here from the Haunted Times magazine with his Ovilus and his Frank's box, and I kept on scoffing. and everybody brings them here, and I say, what in the hell do you think you're doing? What are you capturing? You're using basically a high-end radio frequency scanner that's picking up garbled bits and pieces of radio transmission that it's picking up. And if you're going to tell me that that is a spirit, the sound of the spirit talking, you can tell me it isn't, and you know it isn't. You can say that they're choosing those words to implant to let you know that's what they're communicating. And I said that's not a spirit's voice. That's the voice of a commercial and a bit of a commercial segment being popped into that Oculus, the scanner. I said, I've got recordings of people's voices, not that discombobulated minutia sound that we heard from ghost hunters from 10 years ago, but I have real solid voices. Not like, oh, what was that? I don't know, 3 people asked the same question. What did you hear? 3 different responses, not even closely related to one to the other. So what I'm saying to you is that we have the actual voice that's on audio tape, on audio digital recorders, and also on videotape on the audio track. We've recorded several times people's talking in the background when nobody's talking, and it's like, who knows that? Because it's not one of us. And this characteristic voice signature is almost identical. And by that I mean, it might not be the same person speaking, but it's the way at which that the recording is being done. The voice is like 2 inches, right, like this microphone sounds like it's 2 inches from the person's mouth. And they're saying it in a very, very soft tone like this. And it's really weird. I don't know if you can hear any of that. I was whispering. It's almost like a whisper, but it's weird. There's a difference in the tonal quality. It's always the same signature of like, get the hell out, or John. And it's a breathy voice. It's right on top of the mic. And we have, like I said, there was a great clip that was shot when we were doing a documentary a few years ago, like 2 years ago. And the guy said something flippant. You know, the videographer said something flippant, and the spirit said, "We'll haunt you." And I was like, I heard it. I said, yeah. I said, that's a spirit screwing with your head. They don't like you. And then it turns out he ended up screwing me over anyways and kept all the footage. So it was like, We've had Chris Fleming here. You know Chris from Ghost Psychic Kids. He's been out here a few times, and he's made an impression on one spirit who one woman overheard a conversation that Chris was doing an EVP session in my second floor laundry room. And it was 2 years ago, I guess, and Chris was saying something, and what I would do is I would have Chris speak, and there would be like 12 of us in this room, and we'd all be quiet. And he'd ask a question, and the video camera's running, and I'd say, Chris, you know what to do. He asks the question, waits 30 seconds, then, and then basically replays the question back, replays the video or the audio back. And we're all listening to it. Right there and then we're videotaping it, so there's no, well, we're taking it back to the studio, and we're going to play with it in our lab. I don't buy that crap. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right on the spot, because if a skeptic is going to say, well, you went back and you played with it in the lab, it's like, yeah, if you play with it in the lab, your credibility goes crash and burn in a second. And I say, I'm going to put my butt on the line here and say, look, I have integrity, unlike a lot of people who are too chicken, to follow through with what I say. But I'm going to prove you that if there's something here, let's put it on the spot, and let's hear it right now. So he plays the recording back. And sure enough, you have a whispery voice, a male voice going, get out. He says, F you, get out and die.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it was as clear as a bell, this whispery voice. And it's all on video. It's on one of the videos we have on the YouTube channel. And this woman says, oh my God, the demon. And I said, excuse me. Had you heard 2 people saying that, having that same conversation, I said, living people, and you were walking by and you heard that, would you say to your friend that the person that you just heard say that to the other friend would be a demon? She goes, no. I said, you'd say he's an a-hole. She goes, yeah. Or they're having an argument. And I said, but you're eavesdropping. Anyway, you slice it. I said, the same thing holds true with Chris. I said, don't make assumptions that these people aren't personalities and don't have the same responses that some people don't like other people. I said, not everybody likes everybody, dead and living. I said, that's the way it is. I said, don't make a spin and take it to a place of fear. Oh my God, the demon's like, why? He doesn't like Chris. That's it. Different strokes for different folks. And that's the kind of thing I kind of like to say to people. It's like,
it's just real life.
You're all going to die at some point. Get used to it, and don't be afraid of the inevitable, because you're not going to stop it. Last I checked, the world's oldest man died today at 112, 2 months short of his 113th birthday in Japan. But he died, just like every single one of us. So, being afraid of God, of that is not important. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was me taking away my old dog's play toy from one of my new dogs, who knows better, because this is Stella's and she is dead. So if you don't want to meet Stella's half sooner, don't act like an a-hole and eat her old toy that's not to be held. God, I swear, I don't have kids. I have 6 never growing up pets. Boy.
That's funny.
So
what, quick for everybody that's listening, what's your YouTube channel, so that way people can check it out?
YouTube.com/David Oman, O-M-A-N. Not like Damien, I'm not the son of Satan and the spawn of a demon, and Jack was my mother, so let's be honest here. O-M-A-N, like a good omen. And no, not a Middle Eastern one either, no offense. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just not where I'm from. And I ask me, Mr. Oman, and I go, excuse me. No offense, but I am not from the Middle East, and I don't. It's omen, like a good omen. And they go, okay, thank you very much.
Awesome. So, and they can go watch some actual live footage from your house that you've recorded. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I think to date there's now 100 different videos that we have. I think 90 of them are from the house and the paranormal activity here. There's some goofy ones and a couple from my movie, but I mean, for the most part, they're all videos that were shot here, and they're 110% legitimate. I hate, I despise, I loathe fake, fraudulent crap, and I don't allow that to happen on my watch in this house. And I mean, I'm really, I don't. If I can see something that is completely, to me, explainable, doesn't cut the grade, doesn't make it to my YouTube channel. So that's as far as the paranormal activity stuff is concerned.
Good. That's good, though. There's a lot of people out there that try to say they're paranormal investigators, but they fake stuff to try to get attention or to try to get on TV.
No, sorry. The only reason you've ever seen me on TV is because they wanted me on their show and they wanted to investigate the house.
Right.
And I think the first one was Ghost Hunters. And they did a decent job. They had some stuff happen to them, which wasn't any surprise. But after that was it. The whole floodgates opened up, and everybody wanted to come here. A lot of the shows I didn't want to come here, like Ghost Lab was interested. And I said, no. I said, you guys are a bunch of, you're egging on spirits and having such disrespect. I said, I won't have that. And other shows said, if you have no problem with the house and the haunting, we can't come out there and help you because we have to have a problem to solve. To make, good for our show. I said, I have no problem. I love the spirits. I said, it's not a matter of, and here's the other thing I have to say, speaking of the spirits. When I say the spirits, people think, oh, it's Sharon Tate he's talking about. It's like, no, I'm not speaking of Sharon Tate. And the point is that had the murders not taken place 150 feet down the driveway from where I am right now, the house still would be haunted. It has nothing to do with that. If anything, I'm getting, they come here because the house is active, which is a totally different thing. It's not like I moved in and they just said, oh, there's David Oman, let's go hang out there. No, the house sits on a geomagnetic anomaly. And by that I mean is that Barry Taft had come here 10 years ago and spent a year investigating the activity at the house with some scientific equipment. And he said the electromagnetic field levels here are off the charts. And at that time, his EMF meter would only go up to 2,000 milligauss positive or negative. It would peak at 19999. And Barry goes, we're getting ranges of 2,000 milligauss positive at the front door and 2,000 milligauss negative at the bottom of the staircase where we have this 30-foot wrought iron spiral staircase.
Wow.
Barry said, he goes, I can't tell you what the real numbers are. So what do you mean? It stops at 1999. It doesn't go beyond that. He goes, for all I know, it could be 8,000 milligauss. I go, I can't tell you. This is the limitations of this equipment. And I used to laugh. Well, a couple of months ago, we found an app on my Android, and it's an EMF meter. And, excuse me, Terry, I'm on the phone. So I said to him, I said to my friend, hey, let's test this out. We went around the house to the hot spots that Barry had recorded, the 2,000 milligauss, which are all documented on his reports, which I have. And we hit a number of like 6,800 plus milligauss. And it's a triaxial type of what do you call EMF meter, where Barry's was a single axis at the time, 10 years ago. That's all they had. And on the triaxial, two of the axes were negative and one was positive. And you'd move around the room and it would switch around. And it was like, and Barry said, this kind of dynamics you can't tell, because only with the triaxial EMF meter would you really get an idea of what the hell is going on. And he goes, it would blow his mind if he ever had a chance. But needless to say, Barry hasn't come back here for a number of reasons since then. But it's crazy that he said what he said, is that the house is like an incubator or a reptile like the reptile being able to sit on the hot stone. He derives its energy from the hot stone. In a cold environment, he's going to be inactive. In this house, when the spirits come in, it's like putting a reptile on a hot stone. It becomes active and can derive its energy from the heat of the stone. Or in this house, the energy that's ambient in the atmosphere that's inside this home.
Oh, wow.
So spirits can literally jump off and start to manifest and do things that in other locations, I just got an analogy in my head. You go to the moon, you have zero gravity. What does that mean? That your body weight is cut in half. So an 80-pound object becomes like a 20-pound object, more than half, whatever it is. The same thing is when it's here. It's less energy for them to extend to move objects. I've had a 60-pound sofa chair move 3 feet, 6 inches straight, and then 3 feet back, and then flip over on its own.
Oh, wow.
By itself in front of my friend. And it turns out that it had nothing as the incident. If we have time, I'll give you the brief process of the incident.
Oh, yeah. Details.
A friend of mine came out from Kansas City 3 weeks after his brother committed suicide. He stayed here for 3 days and 3 nights, and I had him stay specifically in the guest bedroom, the most active part of the house on the third floor. Every day I'd come down there in the morning and say, all right, we're going out to breakfast. Anything happen? No, nothing happened. All right, fine. Same thing with the evening and the morning. For 3 nights and 3 days I asked. The final night, he's leaving 6 in the morning the next day to go back to St. Louis. And I'm in I go downstairs and leave him on the balcony to sit down and smoke a cigarette. And I'm down for like a minute, less than that. And I hear some commotion. I hear something sliding across the floor above me, which is the ceiling in my room that I'm in. And this thing goes, and then kaboom, bang! I was like, what the hell is that? So I run up the stairs and I turn to my right, and there's this sofa chair right next to the balcony, the sliding glass door to the balcony, and it's flipped over. And I look to him, I turn further to the right, and I see him on the balcony, and he's sitting there with a cigarette in hand, shaking like a leaf on a tree. And he's like, what the hell happened? What did you do? And he goes, I didn't do anything. He goes, see the sofa? I said, yeah, I see it flipped up. What the hell? I go, I'm on the balcony where I was when you left, when you went downstairs. He said, yeah? He goes, I was sitting here smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden my eyes drift towards the sofa chair 3 feet away, and the 2 sofa chairs at the time were both angled in, so that the back of the sofa chairs were both angled in like 6 inches apart at a cockeyed angle. He said the one on the left literally slid 6 inches over to straight. I said, what do you mean? She goes, the back was right aligned with the doorway, and then it shoots back 3 feet and then hits the rail to the sliding glass door, and it flips over.
Oh,
I said, what the hell? I said, that's what I heard. Now I can visualize what I heard, because that there's this quick slide, short slide, and then a long slide, and then a kaboom, and then bang. He goes, that's what happened. He goes, I didn't do anything. And I said, oh, that's it. I said, I'm pissed. And I mean, people go, what do you mean you're pissed? What do you mean you're getting pissed? I said, I got a little upset that somebody took that type of, umbrage with a guest of mine in my house. As I said, don't do anything to piss off the guests or scare the hell out of them. And I wasn't asking you to do it. Do it in front of me. I don't want to miss anything, This is my freaking theater. I want to make sure I get to see the shows as they go. I don't want to miss anything. So I yell out, I said, Sharon, Jay, is that you doing this stuff? And he's sitting on the balcony 4 feet away from me, still shaking up by it. And I'm like, wait, there's something to say something. And I heard a voice, just in the middle of the air. I just heard a voice, his brother. And I said, hey, I just heard something. I said, did you hear anything? He's still freaking out. And I said, I just heard. I said, I clearly heard what they said. And they said, his brother. And he stopped and he looked at me and he goes, you didn't know my brother. I said, no. And he said, I don't have a brother either, was the thing. He knew I didn't have a brother. So he goes, my brother was a practical joker. And I said, oh, shit.
Wow.
And that, it was it. I said, and he just went completely flushed. And he says, oh, son of a bitch. He's letting me know he's okay. It's like, I can't believe it. And the brother was like 35 years old, had a wife, and was getting divorced, and he got fired from his job, and his wife was having an affair, and all this and that. So it all made sense. And he says, something, I gotta thank you. He said, for 3 days and 3 nights, you've been wanting something to happen, and nothing happened. I said, no, not a damn thing. He goes, you know something? It's his way of getting it, letting me know he's okay. He goes, I can go home now feeling so much relief. Because I've just been so knotted up about, how is he okay? I said, that's got to be the best, the best answer to your prayers is letting him do it his way. The only way he could have been identified as doing it. And like I said, had nothing to do with Sharon and Jay, but, so to speak, their presence has been felt here. And I've seen Jay, and I felt Sharon's presence. And other people have as well, like Lisa Williams, who came here 8-9 years ago after Ghost Hunters. She goes, I want to see your house. I said, yeah, you can come here, but don't bring your camera crew. You're not getting a fee intro to my house and do a show here. No. So she came in and she says, oh, God, there's all these other people. There's Native Americans. And I'm like, what? Native who? Yeah, what?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that true to that or no?
Let's put it this way. If you watch that episode of Ghost Adventures, the first one I was on, which is replayed 1 million times, and it's on my YouTube channel, watch and listen. Forget what you want to hear. Listen specifically to what I say to Mr. A nameless paraceleb. I say that Lisa Williams was the first one who came here and said that she said there was a Native American on horseback whose remains are in the earth here. I said, that's what she said. And she said he died when his horse was riding on what is now the driveway, which is a small horse trail going to the end of the driveway, which was a plateau that looked over the canyon and has got a tremendous amount of electromagnetic energy, is what she was saying. Mm-hmm. And she said he was on his way to that ceremonial ground, which was, she said it was like the priests used to go there, she said, and they would worship and they would, take peyote or whatever. They would basically have out-of-body experiences. Nothing like a burial ground, she said. And he was riding on the path, and somehow his horse lost its footing. Either it lost its footing or a snake scared it and spooked it, whatever. It fell down the slope of the hillside, she said. And as the rider and the horse fell down, the rider was killed and the horse was killed as a result of the fall. And some 70 feet down from where this horse trail was is where his body laid to rest.
Oh,
and
wow.
through the centuries, his body had been covered by the earth and by mudslides and by just time and just the coverage of time. And God knows, I've only lived here 13 years. We had a mudslide, 8, 9, 10 years ago. That was, the whole drive was basically had to be, excavated out. So, as a matter of fact, I know for a fact that where that area is in the earthen wall room, I excavated out 3 feet deep into the mound, And as they were excavating out, we could see the layers of mudslides that had, through the years, had basically left their telltale, I should say, mark in the dirt. You could see the mud, when you cut into the mountain, you're cutting against, different layers, and you can see the layers right in front of you. It's like, wow, look at that. It's like, yeah, a lot of 6 feet of earth had been deposited on that mountain to where we had dug down to. And that wasn't the bottom of the earth, where the real solid rock and earth was. It was still deeper than that. So through the years, it made sense, and his body had been interred there. No one saw it. No one knew of it, and it was buried into the earth. What he said, and if you watch the episode, which he did again with Trey Fordham, where she says, a week later after I was at David, I had a terrible experience at a, what did she say? She had a terrible experience at a market. Well, that's great. That's a week later. He then says that the following day, when he's talking to Barry Taft, he says the very next day she was at the market and had a terrible experience. No, he mistook what she said, and he misrepresented it and basically lied.
Oh, wow.
And he did the same thing with me. When I said that he then says it's native ceremonial burial ground, I didn't say that. Lisa Williams didn't say that. He said that. The only one who said that.
Yeah, that's why I was going to ask to see if there's any sort of truth, because I heard about that, so I didn't know if that was actually true or not.
It's the part the story I told you is what Lisa Williams told me. And then I've had other psychics since that time come in, but I kept my trap shut. Put it this way, Zach was the first person I had spoken to openly in a public setting about that incident and my house. Before then, James Von Prague came in, Lisa Williams came in, Jackie Barrett from America's Psychic Challenge came in to visit the house, Chris Fleming came in, I'm trying to think of who else. Oh, Marianne Winkowski, the real-life ghost whisperer, and I spoke on the phone about it, and I didn't tell anybody anything about that. Between everyone who would come into the room, I kept it quiet, and then they would come up saying, there's a Native American. I said, what? There's a Native American buried, interred in this earth here with his horse. I'm like, what? How did? And I would be like, wow. Okay, thank you. But these people don't live together and don't communicate, so the odds of them being able to tell the other about what their experience was is highly unlikely. So I kept it under wraps so that I could always have that as a point of contention. And when Von Prague went in there, he couldn't spend more than 3 minutes in there and ran out of there because he said it was just too much energy.
Wow.
So, I mean, they all got the same thing. The only, POS who embellished and lied about what I said and twisted my words around and added a few to make sensational drama was him. I never said that, and I stand by that today. And we don't even know, I don't know for sure, because I'm not willing to go dig out the earth to find the remains of a Native American that might be in there or might not be in there, and then open a whole can of worms on that. I think that if he's there, I treat him with respect.
Exactly.
And I allow him to be there, and he knows who I am. They all know who I am. And that's the thing. As Lisa said to me, they love you. They really like you and appreciate your allowing them to stay here and hang at your house. And she was talking about the Native Americans, Rudolph Valentino who died across the canyon from my house. Tons of other spirits, she said, that were here, including a few of the victims from the scene down the street. And Lisa said they really appreciate you letting them hang. It's like, please, I'm going to be there on the other side at some point in the future. Eventually, why would I diss on them knowing how they all passed away? I said, that's just not my style. Leave them be. And I know better than to say, I can send them into the light. No one that is living can and has the ability to tell a spirit, and I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, and that's too bad. So this is the truth, and they hate that because that stings. You're a human being. There's an old saying, the world's greatest question shall remain unanswered forever. And you know what that is? What happens when you die? And you want to know why? Because dead men tell no tales, and once I'm going to quote the Greeks, once you cross the river Styx, you cannot come back ever and tell what you've seen. It just doesn't happen. So if you take that premise and you say, wait a second, If you've never been to Europe, how are you going to tell somebody that's going to Europe how to get there and what to do expect when they get there and how to go around and navigate there? You have no clue. Same goes for those people who espouse to be able to tell you that they do and they can. Because my statement is this: if you can, and spirits are energy, go muster up some of your energetic abilities and bring some freaking well-deserved energy in the form of rain clouds to Southern California and Northern California and end this drought. Be productive if you're so capable of communicating with energies that are far beyond your frail manipulative powers. Because you're a human being doesn't give you the right to make statements that are not true. You're a human being. You've never been to the other side. You can't walk on the other side. You can least of all tell a spirit how to go into a place you've never been and have really no bearing in conscious thought and true understanding about it. And all it is your speculative, theoretical belief, which can't be proved.
Exactly.
I can say this for certain. Spirits exist. I don't know what the hell they do on that plane of existence. I don't espouse and be one that I can speak to. No, I hear stuff from spirits all the gosh darn time. That's a one-way street. Communication is two-way street. I speak to them, they speak to me. That's communication. Having somebody give you information is not communication. That's a one-way street. It's a unilateral sense. It's a unilateral form of discussion. But I have no ability to communicate to them. I can't say, can you turn the lights off, please? Can you shut the shower off? They don't do what I ask them to do because they can't do that. That's not the dynamics of the interaction between man and spirit. It's a lot more complicated, and it's a lot less, there's a lot less baloney to it when you start to look at it. Because your own sixth sense can pick up information, and that's them communicating to you and telling you to protect yourself, to not go somewhere. And when you feel that strong desire not to, and you disavow it, you sometimes get pinched. And you know why? Because it's a lesson. So that maybe the next time they come through and say, don't take that girl home, let your friend take her home, she'll be fine. And when you disavow it, the next time you end up having a more painful experience because you totaled your car after you dropped your date off, and this is a story based on truth. Going back when I was 16, the spirit said, don't take her home. And I said, no, you're right, I shouldn't. And I told her, look, Glenn lives 3 blocks away from you, let him take you home. I'm going to stay here, I'm feeling sick. No, please take me, okay? No, let Glenn. Dropped her off, had the gosh darn car, was distracted for a millisecond, looked down, car had a terrible toe-in on the gosh darn right wheel, so it geared into a gosh darn solid concrete lamppost. And I totaled my car. So I learned from little experiences like that when somebody tells you, don't do it, don't question, listen. It's to your benefit.
We had a question come in from Norma that asked, I wonder what he thinks about provoking. What are your feelings on that?
My feelings on that are the same thing that I would say to you doing it to an animal, or to a living animal, or to a living person. What are you, stupid? You're going to tweak the nose of a lion and expect that lion not to take a swat at you? Maybe not when you expect it, but when you least expect it, your disrespectful behavior is going to be smacked like a gosh darn ton of grapes out of your palm. Because, what do you think? You're a higher power than the spirit, or than somebody else who's alive? I got news for you. Go insult the 6'4" lineman for the Nebraska Cornhuskers and tell me, how does it feel to go yell in front of them saying, Oklahoma, fools? You're going to get your ass kicked because you have no respect.
Exactly.
That's as simple as it becomes. Look, I saw that little tidbit about something we weren't going to talk about. That specific individual, the nameless bear celeb, he had such disrespect through him that when they shot that reenactment, they were here for 4 days. On the Wednesday night, they shot that reenactment of the bloody, bloody white nightgown pregnant Sharon Tate walking down the driveway clutching her pregnancy. I tell you, when the executive producer asked me and the producer asked me what my thoughts were, I said, no. I said, first of all, it's disrespectful. Second of all, it's an absolute lie. Third of all, you're playing with fire. I said, I don't know what you think. I said, this is straightforward. He heard of her. I said, yeah, she called me up a couple months ago, like 6 months ago, and told me that she was here several years ago with some group of investigators, touching my house, blah, 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 and she wanted to come by. And I said, and I never heard from her after that. And he goes, well, this is the story she told us. She was driving up here with her mom to show her mom your house, and she was driving up the driveway at the beginning, and she saw this, and he told me this story. I said, look, first of all, why would a spirit manifest again in the way that they left? That's a curse that I would never befall any spirit. So I said, that's not true. I said, second of all, I said, why would she be a quarter of a mile from her house and from my house down at the bottom of the driveway, meandering around, bloody and pregnant, clutching herself in a white nightgown? I said, are you serious? Why would she appear to this woman? God, she's never appeared to me in my life. I live here. I said, I think I have a little more connection to her than this broad does. And they go, well, we're going to go with it. And I said, sure you are. I said, of course you are. I said, there's no respect. I said, you're just after ratings. And he goes, well, it is dramatic. I said, dramatic? I said, wholesale, yes. I said, but wholesale, hell no. I said, you're crazy. I said, this is, and as I'm saying this, I'm trying to get chills up and down my spine, and I'm going, don't say anything. It's not for you to say. You've said everything you can say. It's like this feeling came over me, like, let it go. It's now up to us. And the night that they shot that reenactment,
yeah.
I got a number. And it's going to beep again, by the way. So somebody's calling in. I'll call them back. I said to them when they shot it, they started taking pictures of this model, this actress walking up the driveway, and I took like 25 pictures. In the middle of the pictures I reviewed, I was taking one after the other. I saw one picture that stood out that blew my mind. There's one picture of this girl clutching her stomach, and you can't see anything from her neck to her stomach because there's this brilliant, crystal white light beaming just coming right out of her stomach. And I've got pictures. If you want, I can send you those pictures as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The three pictures, I'll send you one before that one and then the one after. And you're looking at, what the hell is that? And it's strange as hell. And I said, where the hell is that light source? He said, I said, there's no car, because she was just, I said, why isn't there another picture with the same light? And then I started feeling like queasy, and I felt like real, like oh boy, and I just felt like, ooh boy. So the next night when they did the lockdown, they were supposed to start at 9 o'clock. Well, they couldn't start at 9 o'clock because they were having technical issues. So they started at 10 o'clock, and they're supposed to go for a 6-hour lockdown. It's supposed to be from 9 to 3. No. At about 11:30, 12 o'clock, I remember, later in the evening, middle of the evening, as it was, early in the evening according to what I knew then, because afterwards, when it all went, I'll tell you why. About like 11:30, Zach comes walking upstairs and takes a couple of steps from the top, I guess, the entrance of the house, and down onto the pavement in front of the driveway, and then just fell down. Just completely like somebody had him held up by a stick, and somebody yanked the stick out in a second, and he had no muscle whatsoever to hold him up, no rigid bone structure to hold on. He just collapsed on the ground. And I was outside, because I didn't spend the whole 3 hours, during the lockdown in my car. I was always like bopping around outside, just watching what's going on outside and seeing what's happening, because I'm a curious son of a bitch, and I don't live with anybody. I said I'm going to be watching what's going on. If you're in my house and there's a problem, I want to be on top of it so I can, mitigate any problems.
Right.
So I run up to Zach, and I said, Zach, are you okay? And I look in his eyes, and his eyes are like doing loop-de-loops. And he's mumbling, he goes, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel good. Oh my God, and he was completely like spent. And I heard like, yeah, wait, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm like, yeah, well, I kept on feeling like, it just kept on playing in my head. What you did last night is cursed. You're cursed. You're going to pay dearly for your complete lack of respect and indiscretions. I don't know who you think you are, but it was like I just said, oh boy, this is the beginning of it, huh? So at 1 o'clock, there was other things. I was upstairs and I was listening to Billy Tully. So he goes, listen to this. I said, what's that? He goes, listen. And I put the earphones on and I heard a guy go, woof, woof. And I said, what the hell is that? Where's that? And I said, who's the prankster? I said, who's downstairs? And he goes, well, first, that's the boom mic at the bottom of the stairs. I said, yeah? And he goes, look around you. And he goes, everybody, from Nick, Aaron, and Zach are all out here. And he goes, the other two people, and the camera guys are here, and I'm here. And he goes, there is no one in the house. I said, bullshit. And he goes, no. I'm telling you, have you heard this before? I said, never heard that before. I said, what a person? He goes, that's a stupid. I said, okay. He then played me another clip, and he says, why do I hear this rustling sound? I said, oh. I said, where's that? He said, same mic. At the bottom of the stairs. I said, oh. I put down some 3 millimeter thick plastic underneath the new carpet, in between the carpet and the pad. He goes, why'd you do that? I said, well, I got a couple of rotten prick cats that like to pee on the carpet where there's carpet. I said, they would always pee on that place. And the carpet guy said, look, it's always going to go from the carpet straight through the mesh and right into the foam. And it's like a sponge. You can never remove it. So I said, wait a second. If I have a vapor barrier there, it'll absorb. It won't allow the carpet to penetrate no further than the plastic vapor barrier. So I could use that hot steam mop, the steam machine, and basically clean out the urine without ever having to worry about it staying there permanently. Well, the side benefit of that is when you take steps on said carpet, every single step you take at the landing and going into the room, maybe 5 feet, and all the entire landing is all, and you hear the sound of the foot hitting the carpet and then hitting the plastic underneath. So it makes a crunchy sound. So we're listening, and I hear footsteps, but I don't hear footsteps on carpet because you can't. You hear the crunch, crunch, crunch sound of somebody walking from the landing into the room, or vice versa. But it was clear as a bell. You could hear the footsteps going across, and there was no one in the house.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, so at 1 o'clock, they all run out of the house. I said, what's right? He goes, we're done. I said, we have enough footage. That's fine. We have plenty of footage. I said, it's 1 o'clock. I said, aren't you supposed to be here? What is it, 9 to 3, and now it's 10 to 4? He goes, yeah, we're done. We have no, it's like, really feel, yeah. He goes, Zach's not feeling good, and Nick's got a stretch on his stomach. Excuse me. And I'm like, wow. I said, that's impressive. I said, you got to spend 3 hours in my place. And I've lived here for, at the time, 11 years. I said, I've lived here for 11 years, and I don't have any problems with it. And that basically dug a deep, deep hole inside of somebody's poor, pathetic head, because I basically started saying, look, I started doing paranormal investigations here. My friend Jason Gates, who was from the Honda Collector, said, you know, we go to all these different places and stuff and do these investigations, and nothing seems to come close to your house. Why don't you start doing that, what they do with these investigations, and start doing it at your house? And start, you know, like I said, if I do it my way, it's going to be my way, where there's a full spread of food. You don't have to sit there and pay $125 for 3 hours to go in a haunted hotel. And then when you're hungry, you pay for your snacks for like $5 for a soda and $3 for a thing of like peanut butter and some graham crackers or something, you know, in a little snap package. So it's like, well, you're doing this all wrong. I said, I'm going to fully put out a full spread. It's going to be 7 hours. We start at 8 in the evening and we go to 3 in the morning. You know, once you come in, there's not another touch of your wall. We put out a full spread of food. We had the 2 different types of meatballs. We had 3 different types of salsas. We had guacamole. We had chips. We had a vegetable platter. We had big chocolate chip cookies that we got at Costco. We also sometimes had taquitos. You know, we'd have, God, there's a bunch of other things I'm missing. What else am I missing? Oh, hummus and pita bread, and just other food. Like I said, it was like a whole spread.
Awesome.
I said every 2 hours we put more food out because people would traipse upstairs. There'd be like 20 people doing the investigations throughout the house. And, you know, we had all the cameras set up throughout the house, and then we had the home base in the garage, and we put up a big screen, and you pull down the screen, and we project the image of all the 16 infrared cameras throughout the house, you know, being projected on the screen. So you could go to one camera and have the whole entire 10-foot screen show you what's going on in that room, bigger than life. And it was, you know, it became like people loved it, and I started doing that. And we also made sure that they had plenty of drinks. We had orange juice and cranberry juice and grape juice and orange juice and Sparkletts water and stuff and sodas. So I said, look, once you come in, you're coming into my house. You're my guests. I don't expect you after you bought your ticket and there were like 100 It was like $100 for like 7 hours, and there was also a package that was like $120 because we also gave you a T-shirt and a baseball cap and something else that all said, I survived the Oman house. So it was like a $35 thing for you, spending $10 that you wanted all. Because I want a T-shirt, and a hat, I want to take the souvenir besides the pictures. And, it was fun, but after a while, it was like I got so much hate mail from Zach's, minions. It was like, something? You're calling me this, and I'm a profiteer, and I'm making. I said everybody that works for me, the psychics that we did the seance with, and the investigators come out from 2 hours away, and I'll get paid for their time and their money and their energy. So don't sit there and say this is a money-making engine, machine here. It's not. And I just said, screw it. Let them piss in the wind. I'm not doing it anymore, and I stopped. And that was 6 months ago.
So, oh, wow.
Jeez.
And it sucks because a lot of people, they're saying, I'm coming out, and this time can I come to you? And I mean, every now and then I'll have a few people who will stop in. I don't charge anything to come through the house. Why would I? I said, you come through, you spend 20 minutes here, you talk to me, you get to take some pictures, whatever, fine. But the whole thing of the 7 hours and the marketing and having to do tickets and having to deal with all the different people and it was like, forget it. It's a thankless job, and I don't have to be thanked anymore for it, so I stopped.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Well, hopefully we will be maybe one of the last people you let come in to investigate.
Oh, I wouldn't say. Unless, again, what I offered you. Like I said, I'm planning, honestly, on doing a documentary about me in my own right, my house, and explain it with the truth and dispel some of these myths. And I don't even know if I'm going to have to go to the length of explaining who this is directed to in the doc, because I don't think that's important. I'm just going to tell my story and leave everybody else's, turmoil behind me and what they projected and what they said was happening here. So that it's just clean and simple. This is my documentary about my house, and it's all the truth and the facts. Because in TV, there's a thing called TV, and in TV, there's a thing called money. And by that I mean is you have to make something that's dramatic. And if you don't have anything dramatic, you have to fake it.
Exactly.
And that's TV. It's entertainment. So in a lot of cases, I've talked to producers trying to get a TV show on the years going now about the paranormal. And they said, how can you guarantee that in each one of your locations you're going to have paranormal activity occur? And he goes, are you going to do it a lot of the other shows? And it's like, no, I'm not. If it doesn't happen, we don't put it on the air. We wait till the next location when we have something that happens.
See, you're just like us.
We've been through the exact same talks with people.
They wanted us to put stuff out there and have it to where, like,
something always happens.
Something always happens, and we told them no.
Yeah, we wouldn't fake it.
You can't guarantee that. If it happens, you're lucky. In this house, here's an example. For the past however long we've been on the phone, and I've been monitoring my the figurines on top of the aquarium, they haven't gotten knocked over. And this has been going on for several days where they have not budged. So, I can't control when they're going to get knocked over and who's going to get knocked over. It happens when it happens. That's why I have the cameras, the 3 megapixel 1080p cameras throughout the entire house, recording all the time. Problem is that I'm not the kind of investigative mind that wants to sit there and watch and review all the hours of footage that is there when you put 16 cameras times 24. It's impossible. And I got burnt out on it after the first couple months when I had the system. I was staying up to 4 or 5 in the morning reviewing different cameras in different areas, not all of them, but with the hot spots of the house, and it got to be a mind-boggling proposition where I said, it's 4:30 in the morning. I got to go to sleep. I can't keep doing this. And I burnt on it. It just turned me into Kentucky Fried Omen. And I said, that's it. I can't do that anymore. And and the funny thing is there's a clip on there from maybe 6 months ago that I was looking, I had the monitors on for some reason. I turned them on in the middle of the night. And I looked down for a second and the monitor went like flash. And it was the monitor shooting down the hallway on the second floor. And I looked up and I said, what the hell just happened? I said, wait, no. It's 1:00 in the morning. I looked in the other room. My cats and my dogs were asleep on the bed. And I said, that's strange. So I rewound the footage, and you watch the footage. It's I think like the fifth or the sixth video. And it's a short video, but it shows something on that camera that sits on the cross member on the stairwell, about like 8 feet off the ground. Something walked right by it, and it was a shadow. It was like the thing crossed the path of the lens, and I talked to the technician who set up the equipment. He goes, if it was a bug, he says, because of where it was, he goes, that would have to be a pretty goddamn big bug. I said, why? He goes, because the whole gosh darn screen went obliterated. And he goes, and that thing would have had to been huge, and there's nowhere for that thing to have come. And he goes, when he watched the footage slowly, he goes, it's definitely something that I can't explain. And he goes, it looks like an odd, like a person, like something crossed the lens, and it was a pretty healthily sized object. He says, bigger than a football. And he goes, and I don't know what the insects that crawl around your house that are as big as a football. He goes, and that's the smallest it could have possibly have been. He goes, a basketball is really the size, he said, because the dimensions, whatever it was big. And if the whole screen goes, that I can't explain. So, I mean, that was happenstance. I wasn't looking for it. It happened right there and then. And it's like, okay, I got to check that out. And sometimes when stuff happens around the house, I'll like, here's something. It's like, oh, I got to check that out. And I watch the video. And it's like, I hear the audio. Yeah, that was real. That wasn't my imagination. It wasn't the water heater something or something. It's like, no, that was something else.
Wow. Crazy.
But it's all good. You got to remember. You got to take it from this point of view. You have more to fear from the living than you do the dead. First.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Secondly, if a spirit manifests and is interested in whatsoever communicating with you, you should take it as being flattered by the fact that somebody is dead. It's just crossed several planes of existence to come across the universe to say hello to you or to communicate with you. Last I checked, that puts you in a very select group of individuals in the entirety of the universe that people have ever existed in the past 10,000, maybe 50,000 years. It's less than 0.5% of humanity that's ever walked the earth that has had that type of interaction with a spirit. So consider yourself bona fide lucky, and find that appreciation for that, and take away the fear and turn that into curiosity, and accept the fact that you've been visited, and say, okay, that's truly cool. What did you want to talk to me about? I'm very interested. I'm not going to push you away out of fear. I'm going to, in a sense, stand on my curiosity and stand in a rational mind space and time to figure out what it is that you're trying to communicate with me, and I'll be open to receive whatever that information is, because I'm curious as to know what it is you want with me as I am curious to know what I want with you. And use that type of a rationale instead of being terrified and ghost, run away. Okay, so if they really want to communicate with you, how far can you run with them not being right in front of you every step of the way?
Exactly.
If they want to communicate with you, they're gonna. And if you want to push them away, keep it going. It's gonna finally catch up to you and say, hey, you're running from me, and I'm just trying to say something to you that the girl that you're going out with is a bitch, proper. Boom. Next. That's all. Don't be afraid of the unknown, because the unknown might be there to help you and give you hindsight or insight into something, so that later on you said in hindsight, you know something? Try to listen to that, my guardian angel, because they're there to protect me, not to hurt me, and not to freak me the hell out.
Yeah, that's
totally
just a
agree.
big step some people have to get past, is the fear, unfortunately. Anytime they see something or hear or being visited, some people just have that fear they can't get past.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they're going to have a hell of a time when they die. Because I can't tell you what's going to happen, but it's going to be something. It's going to be another adventure for them. It's hard to say where. And I just saw something about the universe. And my father passed away 3 years ago, and he was a very, very super avid fan of astronomy, and was always telling me when I was a kid about, we're just one minuscule planet, and always showing me the National Geographic magazines about the universe, the expanse of this one solar system, and the billions upon billions of solar systems. And I guess as I've gotten older, I started to appreciate it differently, and saw some videos showing that the perspective of where we are in the universe in relation to the other planets and solar systems and other, in the cosmos. And it's like, God, man, is so awful egocentric. It's sad. I mean, it really, when you look at how much of a speck of dust we are in the relationship to the entirety of the universe. This one little isolated outpost called Earth, compared to billions of stars and other planets and other universes that are out there, we are the most egocentric thing that I've ever heard in my entire existence. Man is just absurd. Because when you look at it, you go, God, we're less than we're like a grain of sand in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Times 10 when you talk about it, about where we are in the universe and the fact that, yeah, there's a God, okay, but if there's a God, he's got to be pretty gosh darn spread out all over the entire billions of planets and universes and solar systems that are out there, because that's a lot of space. And he's covering all that. I'm like blown away, because that is one hairy job to undertake. And I don't care what religiosity says. When you look at it from that perspective, everything changes, and you go, wow. We are really insignificant when you think about it. And it puts things in perspective that your heartache and your this and that, you know, before you know it, it's going to be gone, because you will no longer be walking the face of the earth by that time in 100 years. And it's perspective that no one wants to take upon themselves and realize that what you do today has an effect upon this planet. And the way we're going, there won't be a planet for our grandchildren to exist in, because we will have destroyed it and left it a heap of garbage. And that's unfortunate that people don't want to take that and really say, you know something, that's something I got to really look into and examine. Forget your geopolitical point of view and politics aside. This planet will not be in any shape in 100 years from now. And that's not a promise. That's an unfortunate doomsday prediction by what I've seen in the environment and what's happening in my lifetime. Forget hundreds of years ago, in the past 30, 40 years, it's been hell. And it's not getting any better. And it's a path, like my mom used to say, your backyard looks like Tobacco Road. Well, soon to be the earth, the way we're going.
Yeah, we're killing it.
We are. And people don't want to sit there and think that it's all pollution that we're creating. You can't eat a gosh darn piece of fish from the ocean now and not bite into mercury-laden fish and poisoning. I mean, you can't breathe. You got people in gosh darn poor Flint, Michigan, drinking water that's so tainted with mercury and lead poisoning that it's rotting the gosh darn city's piping infrastructure. I mean, I don't want to get into those things, but from a spiritual level, it scares the living hell out of me, because it's all there and it's all happening, and no one's taking a full look at it and saying, you know, if we don't do something now, there's not going to be anything left, because we're just killing it and destroying it. You know, forget the habitat. You're killing the animals, but you're killing the animals that you need.
Yeah,
so,
totally agree.
This isn't a liberal point of view. This is just a statement of, if you don't want to believe in global warming, don't. Because before you know it, your seaside communities will be sea-under communities. Undersea communities. It's happening. And those who think God's going to help, you know what God said? I put you there to be a tend to the land. What you do to it is what you do to it there. I'm not touching anything. I'm not doing anything. You are entitled to do what you will. It's free will, baby. When you come to see me, then you're going to learn about a spanking and a comeuppance in the worst way. Because you think that God is going to sit there and put Adam and Eve on the earth and not do what he said? He goes, you two do what you're going to do. You're going to have to figure it out for yourself. Don't look to me to do anything to save it. What you do is your responsibility. What you don't do is your responsibility. It's all about responsibility. And God, help him or her, doesn't want to make any shortcuts for man. You don't get a brownie point because you prayed extra on Sunday, because you what you did on Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and years beyond and past. That's not the way God is. He's forgiving, but he's not going to help you out. You have to do that to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense, I'm getting on this tirade, but to me, it's almost like there's a spirit moving me saying, look, you've got a pulpit. You should speak clearly to those that are listening, because the insanity that is continuing on this planet, forget the nuclear stuff. I'm just talking about the basic elements of the way that we treat the environment. We're killing it. We're really putting it down the toilet. And anyone who doesn't think so doesn't have to look in their own backyard. Look across what's happening in China and in India and in Pakistan and stop for a second. Remember, it's not over there. It's here, as in on this planet. And what happens across the other side of the globe, as we found out when Fukushima went, when the gosh darn nuclear plant hit, and when the gosh darn tsunami hit in Japan, but it's just a matter of time, baby, from what goes from the East Asian part of the world will globally finally matriculate over to the west coast of the United States and all the way to Alaska, and all the contaminated pieces of refuse are now making their way and being found here several years later, but still contaminated on the front porch of Washington and Oregon and British Columbia and all the way up to Alaska and all the way down south as well.
I agree.
This isn't rocket science. This is just simple, plain fact. So it's not, I don't care what my neighbor does. He tends to himself. In this case, what happens in India and in Pakistan has an effect on what happens to us. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but eventually the tides and the currents and the air currents as well will bring that crap here. And the oceans all circulate. It's like a huge bathtub. Doesn't matter if it happened over, 16,000 miles away over in Pakistan. Eventually, the stuff that goes into that water there, it's going to make its way here. And it's going to poison us, and it's poisoning us as we speak. So that's my concern. The spirits aren't happy about it. You think the spirits want to see more of us depart? No, they're not rooting for us to die. And anyone who says that a spirit is going to try and take your life, better take a pill that explains to them what their life is. Because spirits are not here to remove us from this plane of existence. If there were, then 6 million Jews would have hunted down Adolf Eichmann in before 1961 when the Mossad went in there to Argentina and plucked his ass out and put him on trial in 1960 in Israel. You see, that's the problem that people have to remember. There's a hell of a lot more problems that they can't explain away to make rational sense of why their spirits didn't come back and take out every single one of the Nazis that put them in the death camps. Didn't happen. So people say there's a spirit trying to kill me. I don't buy it. I think that's hypochondria.
So tomorrow, are you wanting to come back on again and talk about
of course.
We'll do part 2. We'll do part 2, and we'll kind of talk about your movie at the house at the end of the drive and some other stuff you got coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk about some other stuff. And like I said, just have your listeners, if they would be so kind, if they like the videos that you see, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people who have no true credibility that have visited here have, I've been informed that they were chosen to be here because they had so many X amount of subscribers on their YouTube channel. At which point I said to the person, you bring this individual here into this house, and I got gifted friends far and wide that are sensitive, and I'm sensitive, but you chose him and brought him in from out of town and paid for all that, and he can't even hold a candle without letting the candle wax trip all over his hands and burn him for what he's saying. The guy took an EMF meter, he put it near one of my light bulbs, and I said, that's an LED light bulb, so it has a little transistor converter from AC to DC, so it'll actually have a little EMF discharge, more than the regular incandescent light bulb. He goes up to it, and he's literally 2 inches away, and he's getting a charge. It's getting a reading. And I said, before I could say 2 words, excuse me, but he goes, oh my God. He goes, it's putting off an electromagnetic field, and it's going through the room. And I stopped, and I said, I shook my head, and I walked out of the room and said, I can't say anything. Guy's a dope. Anybody that comes up with that rationale, take the meter and then pull it away from the light bulb to see if the gosh darn sensation is, if the electromagnetic meter is not still discharging, which I did it myself. I said, yeah, right next to if you go right next to a light switch, it's going to give you an EMF reading because there's current going there.
Exactly.
And there's a little transistor there. It's converting. It has a little dimmer switch, so it has to have an AC dimmer built in. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious me. And they said, oh, we have 25,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube. And I said, well, I have like 1,900. He goes, oh, well, when you get up to 20,000, then you can claim to be an expert in the field. And I'm going, oh, my God.
Wow.
Wow.
I shook my head, and then he told somebody that went in there. We had this event here with the 20th Century Fox, with the Poltergeist event, and these people went into the open roll room, and it was a father and daughter. And they were investigators, and he comes out and he says to me, we just talked to the such and such, and he said that, the reason why I'm feeling what I'm feeling is, I said, what were you feeling? I was feeling like I was on a boat, rocking back and forth, and my equilibrium was being played with. And I said, oh, God, that's happened to me. And I said, several times, and, different times of the day and different times of the house, it happens. I said, other people as well. I said, that's a common, reaction sometimes in that room. And he says, well, I said to such and such that I felt this, and his response was that, oh, the floor is uneven. I said, what does he mean the floor is uneven? He goes, I said, that was going to cause your inner ear to lose equilibrium. I said, it might be a degree or two not level, but I said, that's not like a severe enough change in tilting that would make you feel that way. I said, that's just absolute bunk. And I was furious. I said, no, that's what you're feeling was organic. You have spoke that. It's real. And I said, don't listen to him. He doesn't know the first thing of what he's talking about. And that's where they said, well, why? And I said, because he's got 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. And they laughed. And I kind of said, if that's what it takes to get cred in this day and age, then I will play their game, and I will up my ante and get cred that way so that they realize that I am the real deal, and the house is real, and they have so much stuff. I have 2 videos that are on my YouTube channel about the paranormal investigation there. One from Jimmy O of JoeGlow.com, and then the private video cameras that were installed, the security cameras footage as well. And you got to watch those 2 videos. They're crazy. There's a little girl that plays the keyboard on its own that we recorded. There's also a little girl's voice that sounds, she's giggling coming from the other room. And there was no one here under the age of 22 years old at that event.
Wow.
But it was really a little girl going, and I was like, oh, no way, man. I heard it. I heard it. So I figured I might as well start, asking people to please subscribe because everybody else is doing it. And damn, at least I'm providing them with the real deal in the paranormal field without a lot of drama and a lot of, did you see what I just reacted to? Because I didn't, and neither did you. But you see me reacting to it, didn't you? What was that? You see me going on like panic chicken? Oh my, what's that? Oh, it's the devil. It's the Trinity. It's the 3 knocks. Come in. That's what I say when I hear 3 knocks. So I say, is that on the pipe or is that on the ceiling? Because 3 knocks on the pipe, if the song goes correctly, that means I'll see you in the morning. It's twice on the pipe, is see you in the morning, or whatever. My point is that when you start to ascribe things with numbers and say, well, 3 is the devil. It's like, no, it's not. They didn't want to go to 4, and they wanted to go beyond 2 is what it means. It doesn't mean anything else. Don't read between the lines and make it out to be something that's more dramatic and more interesting or frightening to the audience. It's just, I get pissed off. I don't like fake, I don't like drama that doesn't need to be. On my clips, you see one piece where a guy is in front of the aquarium, and he's just standing there with his camera, and the figurine just literally falls down in front of him, and he jumps back. It's like a 17-year-old kid. His expression was precious, because he's not expecting, he's like, doop, 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 and he literally jumps back a foot in his shoe. He just jumps back as it happens. It's funny, and I think that, when things happen, here's my take. A couple months ago, 12:31 in the morning, I'm cleaning off my tennis shoes because I've got some mud on them. So I turn on the water in the sink, and I turn it off to wet down my little washcloth, and I'm sitting down now 5 feet away on the edge of the tub, cleaning the crap off my shoes. And all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, I hear the sound of water rushing. And I look up, and the faucet, both the hot and the cold faucet handles are turned full. And I'm like, I turned the water off. Didn't I think, yeah? And I'm talking to myself. I was like, yeah, I did. I said, well, I've been doing this for 30 seconds. You didn't hear any water before that. And I'm having to reassure myself, saying, no, that's the water. So I'm not talking out loud. I go, no, that's the water. Definitely turned itself on. It's like, okay. And I didn't see it turn itself on. I was literally concentrating on cleaning my shoes, so I'm looking down, and the water turns on, and I look up and it's on. I'm going, okay. My first response is, that is so cool. I said, I am so flattered and so appreciative that you guys did that. I said, that is so cool. And then I go up and I turn the water off. I said, look, I said, I know you did this for Adam, so I want to express my genuine appreciation. You did this for my friend upstairs in the top floor of the bathroom, and you turned the water on when he was taking the leak, and you freaked him out. I said, but I never saw that. But now that you've done that for me, I just want to say thank you. I said, but look, on a serious note, I said, California is in the middle of a terrible drought. I got to ask you guys to please not do the water routine anymore with anything, be it the toilet flushing, be it the water being turned on. Steer clear of the water. Don't use the water as a method to let me know you're here. I said, more interesting parlor tricks can be afforded. I said, I know you guys can open the doors. I said, do something like that next time. I said, I'm not stifling your creativity. I said, I appreciate it, but we can't. The water's got to be off limits because they can't afford to waste water. And people go, you're serious? It's like, as serious as a heart attack I am. I said, why wouldn't I be? I treat them like unseen house guests. I don't,
That's why they respect you.
Yeah, well, I respect them. I don't sit there and say, hey, get the hell out of my house. What the hell do you think you're doing? I mean, I've had an experience where on several occasions I go upstairs to the top floor bathroom and I run to the door and it's locked. And I'm like, oh, you guys, and I hear laughter through the house, like little, like, and I said, that's not funny. And then I had to go squeeze my, legs together and make my way up the 2 steps to the kitchen to get a duck knife to go and pop the lock on the bathroom door because you have to turn the node in the middle and rotate it to lock the bloody door. And I know I hadn't done that because I know I have to use the bathroom on the top floor because there's only one bathroom on the top floor. And there's a hell of a long run to get to the second floor bathroom that's closest next to the top floor bathroom. So it's kind of like, I said, that's very funny. I said, what am I, the goddamn comic relief of your source of entertainment today? I said, I'm not Buster Keaton. I'm not going to pee in my pants. So don't sit there and give me a urinary tract infection by locking the door and doing that there all the time. I can't deal with it. And that's how I treat it. I treat them like they're house guests. And they kind of appreciate my humor and my not being affected or weirded out by it, and the fact that I embrace them, and I totally say, hey, fine, we can all live together.
Well, it sounds like you're an amazing guy, and we loved having you on the show tonight and talking with us, and definitely for everyone that's listening, tune in tomorrow. We're going to get David Oman to come back, talk with us, talk about his movie coming out, and maybe take some phone calls. What do you think?
You know me. I'm as flexible as Gumby was. It'll be a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, and we appreciate it, and we'll be looking forward to tomorrow night.
Sounds good. Same bad time, same bad channel, eh, kids?
That's right.
That's right.
I had to throw that in there. I just felt like, God, I haven't said that in a billion years. I usually never say that, so for some reason I pulled that out of my magic bag of tricks to say that little homage to Adam West and Family Guy indirectly.
All right, everybody. So thanks for coming out, listening to the show tonight, and we hope you all have a good night.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night then.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.